Welcome, everybody, to the who knows what episode number of the Cody Miller podcast. I'm your host, Cody Miller, and today I have a very special guest, someone who I have adopted as like a younger brother, someone who, if you're a regular viewer of the vlog, you have seen him multiple times. You love his wonderful, heartwarming smile. Gary is with us today. Gary, how you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me.
It's Kostbade?
Kostbade, yep.
Kostbade.
Yep.
What is that? What is the origin of that?
So I think that's going to be like Swedish and a little bit of German in there.
Okay, the blonde. I see it.
Yeah.
The blonde, blue eyes.
Yep.
Yeah, so cute.
Thanks. Oh, yeah, for sure. Yep.
Thanks for doing this, man. Yeah, so what, for people who watch the vlog and listen to my podcast regularly, you know now that this podcast is an extension of the vlog. It's for people to kind of get to know me a little bit better. It's for people to listen to other people in the world of swimming who know things, about swimming. Yep. That sounds super vague, but yeah, this podcast is, 80% swimming, 20% whatever else we want to talk about. But Gary is a prime candidate for this podcast because he has a very different perspective on swimming at a very high level, at the D1 level, an Olympic trials qualifier level, and everybody loves him. People love you, dude. Like everybody loves seeing you on the vlog.
It's weird, but it's cool.
What do you think it is?
I think really it just comes down to, people see like you and Lily and a lot of the Olympians and, people winning gold medals, but they don't always see those, collegiate athletes that are just, kind of on a team. They're getting better. They're having fun doing, everything that they want to do, and they're reaching their goals, and, their goals aren't always, the same as yours, but it doesn't mean that you can't train with them and do the same thing that you guys are doing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say that people love you just because you're a super kind, sweet guy, but I think it's your smile. that's
the smile. The smile definitely helps.
You took that and ran with it, but you're absolutely right. I think you're just. I'm gonna go ahead and brag about Gary a little bit. I think that you are one of those people that everybody just really, really likes and appreciates. You know what I mean? Like we were joking earlier at practice this afternoon about how much everybody loves you. Like there's not a single person that just doesn't not just like you, but like really like you. Mm-hmm. I don't want to blow up your head. Don't let that get to your head. Gary, don't let that get to your head.
Yeah, but that's nice to hear for sure.
Yeah, dude. But like you kind of touching on kind of what you said, you have a very unique perspective, mm-hmm. Swimming with our group, and I just kind of want to talk a little bit about that, talk about your rise, where you came from, how the position you're in now is different from where you've been in the past, mm-hmm. and then kind of compare that to, what people see in the vlog, what people see me doing, Lily doing, and all that kind of stuff.
Well, so first of all, I'm from Chesterton, Indiana, so I'm from a small town in the northwest Indiana. I actually swam for the same high school that Blake did. And
Blake P.
Yeah, Blake P. Yeah, he was a senior when I was a freshman, so I got to swim with him and be on a national record-setting relay with him. But then, basically, I was one of those people that was kind of a borderline. Like when I was going through the recruiting process, I was looking at D1 schools. I was looking at a lot of big schools, but I was also like just fast enough to get looked at, but like not quite fast enough to get as much attention as you would expect, mm-hmm. As I was expecting. But it was kind of a crazy ride, but then I kind of took a chance and came here, and it's really been awesome, dropping a lot of time and really happy with where things are going.
So when you swam with Blake in high school, did you think Blake was going to turn into the monster he is today back then?
He was pretty good when I was there, but he really took off, I would say, his senior year of high school.
Yeah, he popped big his senior year.
At high school state, he started, going times that people were like, wow, this guy's like legit.
Yeah.
And then he came here and just, continued to make those huge drops.
The crazy thing, for people who don't know, if you're a swimmer in another part of the country, I was blown away at the magnitude and the volume of intensity that is Indiana high school swimming. I could not believe it because the natatorium, the IUPUI pool, mm-hmm. where numerous world championships have been held, world championship trials, Olympic trials has been there. I mean, it's a very, very famous pool. They pack that pool out full, And just to give you a little bit of context, they host Pro Series meets. They've hosted nationals there, and I've never seen the pool that full before for a high school swim meet. It is insane, thousands, and I don't know how many it seats. It's large for a pool though.
It's probably more full for high school state than it is for almost every other meet that is hosted.
Yes.
Even at the collegiate level and at the pro level. It's
just nutty, man. It's nutty. I mean, and the other thing, like when I met Allie, she was a middle school swim coach. Mm-hmm. She owned a club team, coached a high school team, and was a middle school swim coach. Like I couldn't even comprehend the fact that middle schools had swim programs. Like Indiana's crazy.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It really
but
is.
You grew up in that environment as a good swimmer, but like as you kind of said, kind of like a borderline. You like weren't really sure what route you were going to take.
Yeah.
And one question that I get asked the most by kids, from all ages is like, how do I swim at a place like Indiana? And most of them can relate to you better. They can relate to me because I was a really good swimmer in high school.
Yeah.
So naturally, I got a lot of that attention from those top programs. Like I was actively recruited, but most people are not in a position where you're actively recruited, like where you kind of have to put yourself out there. So I mean, how did you make the transition to like being here?
Well, I mean, I would say that like recruiting started, and lots of schools are contacting me, but then you start calling them, and it's confusing. You're like trying to figure it all out and figure out what kind of path you want to go, whether it's do you want to be a big fish in a small pond, or do you want to be a small fish in a big pond? And it's a hard decision. But
so outside of IU, where else were you considering?
So I took 4 trips. I looked at here, Wisconsin, Auburn, and Kentucky. Those are my main 4.
Okay.
And
all really good programs.
Yeah. Yep. And I would say, Indiana wasn't my first choice when I started looking, because I was from Indiana.
And so you wanted to go out of state.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then, Ray and I talked on the phone, and I really I was like, okay, I kind of like this. But and he got me to come on a visit. And when I visited here, I was like, oh my gosh, this is like, everything. The biggest thing for me was the TiVos at breaststroke practice. I was like, holy crap, this is crazy. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't somewhere I was looking at first. I was looking to go somewhere I really wanted to be like the top coming in. And then when I came here, I was like, okay, I'm not going to be right at the top. I'll definitely have some work to do. But I was like, this place has the tools to like to get me up, to make me drop time. So it's definitely about taking those visits. I've
always wondered what are like the highlights for people when they're being recruited, what they see and what really sticks. Yeah. And I've talked to Ray because Ray loves to talk about the TiVos.
Oh yeah.
So we call them TiVos. People, the younger kids might not even know what a TiVo is anymore. But essentially, all it is we have Apple TVs connected to the big, 32-inch or however large our flat screen TVs are on those rolling stations. Yeah. And we have a program that is set to an underwater camera at like a 10 or 15-second delay so that you can watch yourself when you swim in. Mm-hmm. People who have watched the vlog have seen those all the time. Ray loves to sell those things.
He does.
But we really use them all the time.
Yeah.
Like all the time.
We do.
And I always wonder if people see that and they're like, know what they think. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it may not be the same for everyone, but for me, I was like, this is so cool. Yeah. And, then you meet the team too. And like, I met the team and I felt like this was the best fit for me. So
how has the transition gone from being recruited by Ray to now training in our group, our cutthroat, vicious, loving, cuddly group?
It was hard at first. Like they tell you here, like the first 3 weeks of breaststroke practice, you're gonna die. Like, and it was so hard, but now it's great. It's like basically breaststroke group is like its own little family.
It's true.
And I think I've developed pretty good relationships with the coaches and with the team, and like I love it. It's great. Yeah.
Don't you just love it when you're gonna die? Like, and everyone is looking around like we all, because sometimes the things Ray writes, it's just outrageous.
Yeah.
It's outrageous to the point where no one could really do it the way that he's actually written it to do so.
Yeah.
And he does that to defeat you. And like, it's your job
to try to defeat him.
To try to tactically take down this mountain that he has designed out of whatever crazy ADD, nutso, however you want to describe it.
Yeah.
And it's just like even this afternoon, like we were dude when we were doing that set of 25s.
Yeah.
So you're on like a little bit of a taper right now.
Yeah.
So you're getting a little bit of rest.
Yep. So I was doing like 3 hard, 1 easy, but the intervals on 25's pull are coming down to 15 seconds for a 25, and it's brutal. It really is.
Dude, when you and I were pulling next to each other, I could tell when you were going, like, because, like, you'd be with me, you'd be with me, and then you'd be nowhere because you were doing a 25 easy, and then all of a sudden you were, like, ahead of me on the next one. I was like, oh! Because I had to go hard on all of them, and Gary got to go easy on every third or fourth or whatever.
One, yeah.
You gotta love that, though.
It's nice.
It's so nice, like, on the next rep, after you get one off, you just feel powerful.
It really is, yeah.
It's so fun.
And you don't get it very often. That's like a couple times a year type of thing.
Yeah, when rest comes around, it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. What's your favorite part about swimming in the breaststroke group?
I would kind of say basically what you said is that, like, you know you're going to die, but you look around and everyone knows that. Yeah. So I think it's cool because, you know, you bond with people in different ways, but, like, rarely do you bond with someone over knowing that you're going to die. And, it's cool. You know that it's going to be hard, but you know that once you get through it, you're going to be better for it.
It definitely builds a sense of community.
Yeah.
And everyone kind of understands what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And that was hard for me, like, as a young kid. I remember when a coach would give me a set, like when my coach Ron or Chris would give me a set of 200 IMs or 400 IMs, I was, like, afraid. And, you know, like, I, like, didn't want to do it. And I hated that. And I don't know, I guess I have to do some inward reflecting on it, but I don't know, like, at what point that changed, and I made the switch, and I was like, and I just decided, okay, if I just attack everything, then and then everything just gets easier.
Yep. And once you know that what you're doing is, like, there's a purpose to every single thing. And I think that's nice, is, like, even though there's sets that you're like, oh my gosh, this is going to be horrible, you know that there's a purpose to this pull set or this kick set, or even like the swim set we did today it was like a 75 on a minute into and this is all swim at 200 pace, a 75 on a minute into a 50 on 50, and then another 75 all breaststroke at 200 pace, and you know it's going to be brutal, but you know that's what's going to get you home the last 50, you know.
Right. I mean, it was essentially 4 broken 200s.
Basically, yeah.
And it was brutal.
Yeah.
And I do think that it's important for people to know that everyone has been in a state of mind, regardless of how old they are, where they're afraid of doing something, or they don't want to do something, or they're questioning something. And I think that particularly with our breaststroke practices, it really forces you to change your state of mind. And you really only have 2 options. It's like because it's funny, like when we show up for practice, Ray hands out the sets.
Yep.
And you know it's going to be a monster, like every time. Now, sometimes it's slightly easier, sometimes it's slightly harder, but it's always a monster.
It is, yeah.
It really is, especially when you look at it and it's all bunched up together on the paper.
The smaller ones are the scarier.
Yeah, exactly. They really are.
Yeah.
But you get those papers and you look at it, and it's like you have 2 options. You can either be afraid of what it is and be scared of it and protect yourself from it, or you can look at it and be like, you know what, screw it, I'm going to attack it. And you, like, look at it tactically. Yep. And that's really the only option you have.
It is.
And, like, I'd say a good majority of the group of people, I would say almost everybody, with the exception of...
At some point, everyone finds a way to, like, make at least one part of the practice, like, their part. And they're going to go after it. And they're going to make it...
Everyone learns to look at it tactically.
Yeah.
To look at it like, okay, it's almost like climbing a mountain. It's like, okay, how am I going to climb this mountain? You know, like, where are you going to sprint? Where are you going to take your time? You know, what needs to be done? Like, how hard do you have to go where? And it makes it fun. It makes it fun. It really does. Sometimes this is a really controversial question. Do you think that those practices go by faster or slower than all the other middle distance practices you do?
That is a very hard
It's
question.
hard, right?
It depends on the day, I would say.
That's true.
Like I thought today... See, because there's days where you get done with the kick and the pull, and it's like, oh wow, it's already 4 o'clock. You're almost like you got a swim set to come, like at 100 or 200 pace, and then you know you're to the pulleys. But like today, we finished and it wasn't even 4 o'clock. I'm like, you know, the swim set's gonna be hard when you still have over an hour left. But I would say most of the time it goes by probably faster. I would say.
I think so too.
Yeah.
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 You do primarily middle distance training.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So explain to me what your... Well, I honestly don't actually know exactly what
Yeah.
your cycle is. What's your cycle?
So I'm on the mid distance cycle. I do I think I do 10 practices a week.
10 swims?
10
I used to do 10 swims.
Yeah. So basically when I got here I started in the mid stroke group.
Okay.
And I liked it. That's a lot more pace, a little bit less yardage.
Mm-hmm. More intensity, slightly less volume. But it's still a fair amount of volume. Like
it is.
That
It's
group
still,
did, what, 8 or 9 swims a week?
Yeah, I think they do 9.
Okay.
But basically, I kind of talked to Ray and Mike about it and thought from where I came from a club in a high school that we did more volume based. And we had done a lot of red, basically your red and blue and tons of volume. So I was like, I think I need just a little bit more volume behind me. So then I made the transition to mid D. But I also have like a Wednesday. So I do 2 breaststroke practices, mid D throughout the week. And then Wednesday I do like a speed set with Kirk.
Oh,
And
so you're doing Kirk set now.
I do Wednesdays with Kirk.
Okay.
So I think that gives me the more like the speed, the quick,
And that's a lower volume set, right?
That is, that's a lower volume day.
Yeah.
And so that's basically, you kind of have to find your way and see what works for you. But I thought that was going to be better for me. And
so I'm going to try to break it down for people listening that maybe have no idea what we're talking about. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I talk and I'm like, maybe people don't know what I'm saying. So when he says like red or blue, we do chart times. And it's kind of a modified version of the Urbanchek model. John Urbanchek developed this system of heart rate training. So anytime someone watches a vlog and they see something that says pink, red, blue, purple, whatever, there's a designated heart rate zone to be in. And like a red is a slightly uncomfortable threshold level of training. And you can kind of look that up. There's a lot of different there's a lot of different color systems out there. But so you go Monday morning middle distance.
Yep.
And then
Monday afternoon is breaststroke.
What days do you lift?
I lift 3 times a week. So Monday after morning practice, and then Wednesday that's my one morning I don't swim.
Right.
But I lift that morning. And then Friday morning after.
So you don't have any morning or afternoon totally off where you have nothing.
No. Yep.
Yeah, I've lived that life.
Yeah.
It's a brutal life.
It's brutal, but I almost like it. I think it keeps me like, I'm one of those people that you take me out of the water for even a day and it just, things feel foreign when you come back. So I think it's nice to stay like in a cycle all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. And you go, so Tuesday morning, Tuesday afternoon, also middle distance?
Yeah. That's the
Would you say that's your hardest day?
That's for me especially, that's the hardest day of the week because Tuesday morning is long course, short interval kick. So we're always going to do...
Oh, they've seen that in the vlog. They've seen me do that. It's a brutal practice.
It is. And especially if you're, breaststrokers aren't always the best flutter kickers. So I really struggle with that practice. And then Tuesday night is always a lot of volume and it's, a red set.
Yeah.
And that's always a hard practice for everyone. So...
Dude, Mike's red sets are pretty tough. But it's almost like a hump you get over. Because like Monday's really intense.
Yeah.
And then Tuesday is almost more... I don't know if I want to say it's more mentally challenging. Yeah. But I think it's just because of the workload. Right? But once you get over that, then it suddenly
Then
becomes,
it gets a little better. And then it gets worse again. But it's a crazy week. And you learn how to get through it. And not just get through it, but how to again, it's just like breaststroke practice. You tactically approach each practice and each day of the week. So.
I think that our middle distance group, to give people perspective out there, I think if you're middle distance all week long, your weekly volume is around 55 to 65K.
I think that's right.
I believe that's right. And some weeks it's lower, some weeks I would say it's never above 60. It's never above 65.
Probably not.
I honestly don't think it's above 60. I should probably say between 55 and 60.
I would have to do the math on that. But I think that sounds right.
And then the mid-stroke group is probably even less. Sometimes they might dip under 50K, a little less than that. So if you think about it this way, if there's 10 workouts a week, that's averaging across 10 workouts a week. That's averaging 5,500 yards. And I want to say that it's honestly probably a little bit less than that.
Yeah.
That would be fully middle distance, but not everyone does that. People kind of jump around.
Yep. There's a lot of different groups.
There is a lot of groups.
Yeah. A lot of variations.
That's one thing that I think our program does well is the variation from person to person, right? Like they can kind of figure out this person needs this person needs that, and there's a lot of sharing of coaches and swimmers. And
well, it's cool. Like I used to do Friday night lactate with Mike, and now so I moved into the Wednesday afternoon with Kirk, which is more lactate sprint based, and then moved into Friday afternoons with Ray. So that's an IM. That's a really fun practice.
I've never done that practice.
That is a hard, but really fun practice because it's always some type of descending, or you're starting at 85% and you're working your way into usually some type of 200 or 300 like free IM. When I say free IM, I mean like you're replacing the fly with free to make the IM a little bit more.
It's much more sustainable.
Yeah. So you're building into one of those all out.
Okay.
So it's pretty fun.
I mean, the way Ian describes it, it's pretty intense.
It is. Yeah.
He was flying, according to Ray, last Friday.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't there. Like I said, I don't do those practices. But then on Saturday, he was gone. Like, he was fried.
Yeah.
It was almost comical.
Yeah.
I was like, you can do this, Ian. Come on. I was trying to motivate him.
It happens. Yeah.
Kind of like how I was trying to motivate you today during those 25s. Like, come on, Gary. Come on.
With me.
Sometimes it makes me feel better just to cheer on other people. I get going. I'm like, I made Ray laugh pretty hard when I threw out that Lord of the Rings quote.
He was laughing.
He
on
loved
that.
He loved that.
Yeah.
I don't remember how long ago this was. It was quite a few years ago. But Ray gave us this ridiculous set. It was a very, very much a hypoxic double pull-out kind of set, like 150s and 200s of double pull-outs on a fairly tight interval.
Yeah.
So
those are scary looking days. When you see that on the practice, everyone is like looking at each other, and that's part of the thing. Like that's part of the breaststroke group is everyone's looking at each other like, oh my god.
So he gave us this set, and I remember everyone was super bummed and down, and in my mind I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go all out from the beginning and literally commit suicide. Like, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. And then I'm just gonna pump everybody up. And I remember I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was a 150 or a 200. I did it, and you know what it's like when you go, okay, you get through the first 50, you're like, okay, then the hypoxic sets in at like the 75, and then by the 125 to the 150, it feels like my chest is caving in, and I'm just gone. And I went super fast. And I was dead. Like, everybody knew. Like, everyone was looking around like, what? This is years ago, but everyone in the group was like, what the heck is he doing? Because I wasn't tactical about it at all. And Ray's on the bull cut across the way. He's like, what are you doing? And I stood up and I put my arms in the air. I was like, is this not what you wanted? And I started quoting Gladiator.
Oh my gosh.
And he loved it. Like, he freaked out. And it's like, all of a sudden, the mood shifted. Because prior to me acting like a buffoon and doing that, the mood was no one really wanted to put themselves out there and just go for it. And there was tension. You could feel the tension. And once I did that, it's like all of a sudden that like evaporated. And everyone was smiling, and people just started going faster, and it's okay to fail. Like, it's okay to to not hit a pace time or to not hit whatever it is.
And there's days where like Jurdy and Brock, a couple other guys in breaststroke group, they're like, we're doing a pull set, and I'm like, guys, I'm just gonna go for it on this one. And like usually you kind of you tactically approach it, and you're like, okay, I need to like sustain this certain amount of energy for like the whole set. But some days you're like, you know what, I'm just gonna go for it.
You're just feeling it.
And you can hold like maybe
it's crazy,
a few 100s like all out, and I'm like trying to stay like kind of close to you guys, and then it just die and you're gone. But
dude, your pull has gotten so much better though.
It has.
Yeah. Like you especially the last few weeks have been keeping up or are right with the best pullers in the group. You can see it.
Yeah. And that was really a weakness for me when I got here. I remember pulling. You guys were like lapping on like 200 or 300s pull. They would lap me.
People need to hear that though. People need to know, like, you came in very raw as like an underdeveloped. I mean, you weren't an underdeveloped swimmer,
but for college
comparatively for for our level of training.
And
you were kind of getting lapped and probably getting beat by even some of the girls, and now you're like killing it. So it
happened, and that's part of the. You just got to go for it sometimes, and like. I remember getting here, and the pull sets were so frustrating because, especially early in the season, we do a lot more like longer, like 300-400s pull just to get in shape. And yeah, like you said, even Lily was close to lapping me on like some of the pole at the
To be fair, she's a freaking boss.
She is.
But still.
But yeah, but like you want to be beating the girls.
Yeah.
But that's something that's just slowly developed, and now it's like one of my strengths, I would say, at breaststroke practice.
Dude, I would say
versus
so too.
my kick is still
Jordy can kick so well right now. He
really
had a best time tonight. He kicked like a 212 on a board. So we did a set of 450s in of relatively short rests. It was a set of 450s on 45, 50, 55, and then the fourth one was on a minute. Mm-hmm. And then we went into a 200 kick on a board for time.
Yeah.
And Jordy popped off like a 212 on the last one. And keep in mind that that's a 212 at the end of an 800-yard kick set, not just straight up warm up, then do a 200.
That's already hurting.
It's it's a different thing when you're in the middle of a practice and you're coming towards the end of one of the sets and you pop off something like that.
That was really impressive. He had a really good practice.
He did have a really good practice. For people who are listening, he's the guy who always sprints warm up because I joke about him in the vlog sometimes.
Yeah, you do.
So people know.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet Jordy. But you need him.
We need that guy to get in, or no one will get in.
You need that guy.
Yeah.
You need that guy. Yeah. What's one thing that people who watch the vlog and who, love Lily and this and that don't know about what it's like to train either in our group or on our team or something like that? Yeah. I get asked that all the time and I'm like, that's such a weird question.
Don't know.
Yeah.
Man, you've showed everyone like a lot.
It's fair.
I would say that like something that people maybe don't always see is like even some of the best athletes have like hard practices that don't always go their way.
Yeah.
And like I think that's something, at least for me, that was always something that was hard, and people need to realize that like you're not always going to feel good at practice, and you're going to have those days here and there where you are completely broken down and you are completely out of it, and you may not even be like competitive with anyone. Mm-hmm. And I think it's important to know that like even Cody and Lily have days like that.
Dude, I had a day kind of like that today.
Yeah.
Where I wasn't dominating the workout like I normally like to. Yeah. I was just I was mid pack. I was with the pack, but I wasn't
like out there like usually.
Yeah. Not like way out there. Like normally I need to be ahead of Jordy on the majority of
swim,
it.
Yeah.
Especially on the swim.
Yeah.
But I mean, I just knew because I'm in this new phase now where I'm lifting so much. Mm-hmm. I'm lifting 3 times the amount. Like my volume in the weight room has gone up astronomically for multiple reasons. Number one, I mean, I just need to get stronger. Number two, my knees. I have to develop the strength for my knees. So like we're developing my VMOs and we're doing all this stuff. Like I split squat today. I don't know the type of split squat, but I split squat 260 today. And that was, now granted, so I don't know the type of split squat, but my arms are on a bar. So like I am using my arms in a way to more almost for like a stability kind of thing. But regardless, like I lifted
still a lot of weight,
dude. Yeah. I lifted so heavy today, and I couldn't. Sometimes you have those practices where like you can't even. Well, you can, but you can't really push off a wall.
There really are days where you're like, what is happening? And like, I think, that's something that as you get better, you start to have less of those.
Yeah.
But you also like during those days, it's really easy to just want to get out and not do it. But I think the biggest thing is like when you realize you're in one of those days, you have to tell yourself, okay, you know what? If I'm not going to keep up, if I'm not going to be beating people, at least I'm going to pick like one thing and just work on that.
I'm so happy you just said that because I literally had a moment like that today.
Yeah.
We started the kick set, and number one, Jordy went out like a freaking bat out of hell. I was like, oh, Jordy, you're going so... Jordy trains really well for people listening. He trains really well. But he goes out, and I remember trying to kick, and my legs just were not functioning. And I was like, I'm going so slow. And in reality, I wasn't going that slow, but I have an expectation. Like everyone has that expectation that I wasn't meeting it. And there was a moment where I was like, I shouldn't even be doing this. And I think you have to squash those moments. Like now I want to be very clear. There are certainly times when there's a point of diminishing returns where like you do need to stop, where continuing could be detrimental or whatever. Cause but today, like majority of the time, like you have to squash those moments where you're like, I just want to stop, like this is dumb, and then your brain spirals out of control. Like you start having all these crazy, you go down this thought rabbit hole, and it's not healthy and it's not good. And today, I'm actually kind of proud of myself because even after all the accomplishments I have, I still have those moments, and you have to squash them.
Yep.
And I was like, no. And I thought, and like just like what you said, you have to think about one thing. And I thought, I was like, okay, I can actually do breaststroke kick. Like I can do the majority of the practice straight up full on breaststroke kick. And whereas just a number of weeks ago I couldn't do that because of, dealing with my knee problems.
Yeah.
And so I think it's all, like, once again, it comes back to that matter of perspective.
It does. Yep. But that is a very hard thing, because I guarantee you every swimmer has those moments where they're like, wow, today is just not
happening.
Yeah.
Not happening. Doesn't matter who you are.
Yep.
I've literally talked to I've talked to almost every national team member I can think of. Even Ledecky, even Katie, who out trains dudes, has days where she just is not feeling it. Like it just happens. It's real.
Yeah.
That's life. God. Our sport is crazy.
It really is.
What are we doing to ourselves, Gary?
Sometimes you ask that, but
what are we doing?
But then you have those like good days, and you're like, oh, I know why I do it. But there are those days where it's like, wow, it is a tough sport. It really is. Yeah.
Are you gonna be working swim camp this summer?
I don't know yet. I'm thinking about it. It depends. So I stay down here in the summer instead of going home, and I train. But I also take classes, so it depends on my class schedule, because I think I have to take some pretty hard classes.
Really?
Yeah.
What are you majoring in?
So I'm a biology major. I'm on the pre-dentistry track. So
you're gonna be such a good dentist.
I hope so.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I'd be so happy if you were my dentist.
Yeah. You could probably come for free. Yeah. But with that, there are a lot of really hard classes. So
gotcha.
Just trying to fit those in, and
so you might have to do a little bit of summer school, and
yeah,
you never know.
Yep.
Dude, working swim camp was one of the most difficult times for me, because one summer I was training for Olympic trials. Summer 2012, I was training
I think we talked about it, right?
Dude, yeah,
It was your first year of swim camp, right?
Yeah, and I had like a lot of responsibilities. We didn't have nearly as many people working. We didn't have as big a staff, and we had a ton of kids. And I was a camp counselor, so I was walking kids to and from the dorms every single day. You're living in the dorms on the floors with the kids. Like I was monitoring the halls. I was doing summer school. I was training for Olympic trials. Like dude, so much work. That was one of the hardest times of my life.
It is.
That was draining. But I look back at that and I'm like, I'm glad I did that.
It's so good for you. Like
it really is.
I think everyone needs like that.
Yes.
It's like a 4-week time where you are non-stop going. Like I think you said you'd like your head would hit the pillow to go to sleep, and like instantly you'd be awake.
That's exactly what I said.
All right, day 2, here we go.
Dude, it's like the whole week blended together. There was no downtime, no anything. I was like a well-oiled machine of just tasks and duties and doing this and doing that, and there was almost hardly ever a moment of levity. But I think it's good for people to struggle and to have that time. Like I think you need to struggle. Like you need to have moments where you're like, I don't know if I can do this. You have to. Otherwise you're not, I mean,
yeah.
You're not growing.
And then you come
you're
back,
not growing.
And then you come back, like, so I did that the summer after my freshman year, and then you come back to sophomore fall semester, and it's like, oh wow, this isn't bad. I have like just class and just swimming. I don't have a job as well. Like I can go back and nap, and it makes the easier things even easier.
Yeah. I mean, most of the guys I talked to that I swam with in college, all of them, none of them have said the opposite. All of them have said it has certainly gotten easier because of the things I put myself through. Like even Ethan, like Ethan's like, dude, I wake up at 7 a.m. every morning and I'm like, I can do this. Because he woke up, or, that's the thing, like swimming forces you to do those things. I mean, I talk to parents all the time about the value of having your kids do some doubles. And I'm not going to sit there and tell you you need to train the living hell out of your kids at a young age. I'm not saying that. But having a schedule and being busy and being forced to multitask and being forced to learn how to manage your time at a younger age prepares people for life, I think. And I guess I'm not really that qualified to be giving advice. Like I'm not.
I think you are though. I mean, when you go through college, high school and college, swimming that much, you really learn how to manage your time. You have
no choice.
You have no choice.
Yeah.
If you want to be doing well in school and reaching the goals you set for yourself in the pool, like, you really don't have a choice. You can't.
I'll tell you what, that is one of the most commonly asked questions. Like, I get that question 5, maybe 10 times a week.
Really?
No exaggeration. What can I do to balance school and swimming, or this and that? Like, like questions about levels of balance. I get that all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, look, I every situation and every person is different, so I can't, nor can anyone really give you what you think you may need. Maybe inspiration, maybe hearing me say, like, you gotta suffer. You have to go through those times where you're not sure if you can do it, because those are the moments that are going to help you grow and prepare you for everything else later on. That's what prepared me to achieve some of my swimming accomplishments, no doubt. Not just the work you put in the pool, but it's all those other factors outside of it in that same sphere.
Yeah. Yeah, keeping it all together, because it's all you can't just have one aspect that's like going really well if you have other things that aren't, because it's going to stress you out. And
definitely,
yeah, it's definitely a balance.
I'm not good at giving advice, Gary. I'm just
yeah, I think you are.
I have a very limited scope of what I'm good at.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I would say, like, it's when you come in as a freshman in college, and it's hard because you're on your own for the first time. So I think that is something that a lot of people struggle with, is like, your mom's not there to pack your lunch, which it sounds like a joke, but
it's real.
But it's real when you start realizing that, okay, so I have practice in the morning, and then I'm going to rush from practice to class to class to class. And all of a sudden practice is back again. You're like, oh wait, when am I going to eat?
Yep.
And so it's like, okay, the night before, you better pack your lunch, because you're not going to get up an hour earlier in the morning to do that. So it's definitely just planning ahead. And you do have to suffer, because you're never going to get those things right the first time. At first you're going to be like, oh, I messed this up, like, now I need to go back, and like, this week I'm going to do this differently. And I think as you go, you fix those little things, and by the end of the semester you're like a well-oiled machine. You just kind of have it down.
Yeah.
And but it's important to get, like, sleep is hard in college. They tell you in college people stay up late, but like, as athletes, you can't do that. You
physically can't.
Yeah. I mean, I'm in bed by 9 basically every night. And if you're not planning everything, you can't be. It's hard. So,
dude, that's like, that's one of the biggest things I tell young collegiate athletes. It's like, what can I do better? I'm like, you need to sleep. Yeah. You really need to sleep. And I mean, I've been a person who's like really religious and diligent about my bedtime, but I've been talking to a lot of people who are a lot smarter than me, who have trained a lot higher level athletes, doctors, this and that. And I was talking to them about my sleep pattern and how I was going to bed at 9 and I'm waking up at 5 to be in the water at 5:30. And they're like, okay, well, we need to find a way for you to get you more sleep. Yeah. So I'm like, oh my gosh, like, even I have.
It is crazy. And not just like, and people think, and naps are great. Like, I love doing naps. Some people don't, but if you're taking those short naps, those aren't getting you the deep sleep that your body needs to do the, like, repairing of muscles. And like, your brain, when you go into deep sleep, your brain is doing all the sorting of,
it starts releasing chemicals and all those things that helps your body repair. But naps might help you, might help you mentally, might help you clear your mind or whatever. But I'm not a big napper.
Yeah. See, I like long, like, I usually won't do a nap if it's going to be a short nap. But if, like, on a Saturday after practice, if I can get like a 2 or 3 hour nap, like, I feel like those are good. But then if it's too late in the day, then it's like harder to sleep at night. So you have to really be good at planning those.
Dude, you know who is crazy about sleeping is Blake.
He is.
He is a savage.
Yeah.
That dude sleeps so much. And it's like, it's almost crazy how much he can sleep. It's crazy. He's like a bear. He can just hibernate. He's like, okay, I'm going to go to sleep for 14 hours. Yeah. Like, you are an animal. I don't know how he does it.
But it makes sense. I mean, he is one of, he does not ever, I shouldn't say never, but like he has less bad practices than most people.
He's very consistent. He's much more consistent.
It probably has to do with how much sleep he's getting.
There's no doubt about that. It is a big factor.
It is.
It's kind of funny. He, you know, at world. Okay, we know Blake just won world championships in the tuner free. We love him. Congratulations, Blake. But he almost missed the final out of prelims. He was 8th place. Like he won from lane 8 because he had a really bad prelim swim, and he said it was because he didn't get enough sleep because they had just set that world record and they were riding a high. His adrenaline was up. They're in China. They're in a foreign time zone. They've only been there for like a week, and it's all crazy. And so sometimes it's really that is a battle, is finding ways to turn your brain off, calm your body down, and actually get into a good sleep at competitions. That is he'll be the first to tell you, he's like, dude, I almost didn't make the final. Wow. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, and it is, I mean, it definitely is, especially at bigger meets, your 3 or 4 or 5 day meets. The longer they get, the harder it is. But when you're at those meets, and especially if you're coming off a really good swim, when the adrenaline's really high, or if you have a really bad swim and you're like emotional, it's hard to shut that off and go to sleep. But you have to just push it out, even if it's like the best swim of your life, and you're like, man, I want to just like, you know, feel good, like this is great, like I hope everyone knows I did this, but like you have to push that away and get ready for the next swim, because if you leave that in your mind, you'll never be able to like shut it off and get into that deep sleep.
That's true.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It is.
Sometimes making that transit, that's another thing I get. The things that constantly pop up into my brain are the questions that I get asked the most frequently. And like that's one. Another one I get asked by parents is like, what can we be doing better to get fast? Just like kind of generic, what can I do to be faster? What can I do to improve this or that? And it's like, I can't be super specific because I just don't know.
Yeah.
I just don't know.
There's just there's so many factors, so many little things that.
What do you think's the biggest thing you've done the last year? Because you're clearly in like a way better position now than you were last season.
Yeah. I would say for me, and you know, I would say a lot of freshmen probably deal with the same problems of trying to just get everything managed when you're, you know, in school and 15 credit hours of class and training 20 hours a week. But I think for me, recovering in sleep is what I've done better this year than I did last year. And given I'm not in the dorms anymore, now we have a house. But for me, like I used to have a lot of bad practices at the end of the week. I would train really well on Monday, Tuesday. Wednesday and Thursday would be okay. And by Friday and Saturday, I was usually done. Like my body was so broken down.
Right.
And then at a certain point that starts transitioning into the next week, and then you really get in a problem when it starts, you know, carrying over, because
it needs to reset. Like
you usually need to be reset by Monday, or you're in trouble.
Yes.
But that's probably something I've done better this year, is I've tried to do a lot more like foam rolling, stretching, and then just sleep in general. It's just getting more sleep, whether it's naps or just going to bed earlier. But I think those are the biggest things. And then eating healthier. Now I can cook. I'm not eating like dorm food and stuff like that. So now I can go home and cook meals, and it's fun to cook your own meals. You know what's in it. You know you're eating healthier, and it definitely helps though. When you start doing it for like a given like long period of time.
All those things add up.
Yeah, it does.
They really do. It makes a difference.
Yeah, but those are probably the biggest things.
That's like a whole variety of things.
Recovery.
You think
in
just
general.
So managing, figuring out ways to, and that's another thing. It's like, the partying, man. Like as a collegiate athlete, you really can't do it.
Yeah,
you really can't. Like it wrecks seasons.
It does.
I've talked about it before. Like my senior year, I did not have the season I wanted to have simply because I was like, I was in a weird time in my life where like didn't know. I wanted to continue swimming as a pro, but like I wasn't sure I was good enough. I like wasn't, I wasn't top 6 on the national team. I'd never won a national title. I felt like I'd missed out on a lot of college, so I was like trying to make up for it. I was going out a lot. I was talking to girls, and dude, that's just it wore me down. It really wore me down. I had a really rocky season, particularly the first semester of my senior year was rough.
Yeah.
It was brutal. And so like I can tell people just firsthand that my level of training my junior year when I wasn't partying at all to my senior year when I was doing it not even a lot by normal standards, but for for an athlete yeah, and it just my level of training sucked.
Yep.
And it showed.
Yeah, you just can't recover.
No, you can't.
And it goes back to like you're not going to be fresh on Monday. You're not going to be reset.
Yeah, and when I say partying, I mean like going out on Saturday night, like going out to a party, whatever, going to a bar, whatever, and drinking, and it's like just that one night can tip, because coming off of Saturday, like you have an entire week of work in the bank in your body that you now have to once again settle down, recover from. And going straight into Saturday night, like if you're staying up late and you're drinking, all of those factors, those biological factors that come into play to help your muscles recover and help your body stop being so fatigued, that gets shut off.
It does. And you only have one day. I mean, when you think about it, you have one full day to do it.
Yep.
You have 2 nights. You have Saturday night and Sunday night.
Yep.
But you really have that whole day of Sunday, and that's it. So like you got to make use of it to recover.
You really do. Yeah, you really do. And I think like our team has done a really good, like a really.
I think
I'll say that having been being the old man that I am, having been here like 10 years. The culture and the climate of the team right now is the best that it's ever been. And I could say that 100% positively. Not that the people I swam with were not good people. Not at all. Great teammates. But the level of commitment and the level of determination and, just our goals, all those things and how committed people are to those things is super high. And that's another thing that keeps me around. It really does. Even freshmen, like you right now at your age as a sophomore, you're in such a better position than the majority of people your age at your time years ago, like when I was in school. Does that make sense?
It does. Yeah.
And that makes me it makes me happy. Like makes me want to be. It makes me want to keep going. I like that environment. I like the environment better.
Yeah, it is cool. I mean, and it's one of those things like the team holds everyone accountable. Like when you have, especially last year, when you have people saying like, we are not drinking at all.
Right.
When you have people saying those things as seniors, the freshmen are like, okay, like got it.
That's it. That's how we're rolling.
That's it. And then when those things start carrying over, not just 1 year or one season, but year after year, it just becomes the norm, and like it's not really a big deal. And then everyone's doing it, and before you know it, like it's just not a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's best when the team kind of just. The best way to describe it is they just kind of police themselves.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if that's a good way to say it, because that sounds kind of dictatorial, because it's not.
But it's true though. Like if you have to have like coaches intervening, telling you not to party, not to drink, I think that's a problem, because it means that the people don't want to that they want to do it, and that the coaches need to stop it. But like our coaches don't even have to bring it up anymore. Like it's not even something.
No, it's not even a question. That's very true,
because they know it's not happening.
That's very, very true.
Yeah,
very, very true. I love that. Good stuff, Gary.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
It's been good.
So we've literally only talked about swimming. We should probably talk about some other stuff.
We got to get that 20%.
So a lot of people have asked me how awesome my Harry Potter pop room is. You've just seen it.
I did see it for the first time, and it meets all standards and goes beyond them. Like I was like freaked out, shocked. I was like, this is incredible, but also like, yeah, wow.
Do you know how many I have?
I don't.
I
saw a few that are like duplicate, just a couple duplicates.
So there's a couple. The only true duplicates we have, like we have a few Dementors that are the same.
Okay,
so we have duplicate Dementors. Yeah. And I think we have 1 or 2 Harrys that are the same just because they've been gifted.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of different iterations where they're, like, for example, we have like 4 Newt Scamanders, but they're all different Newts. Like one of them is him holding a wand, one of them is him holding
like the briefcase.
The briefcase, or the one of him coming out of the briefcase.
Oh, that's cool.
That one's actually quite cool. Yeah. I have 123, I believe, gosh. And we're only missing 2 or 3. Yeah.
That's very impressive. You gotta get the last ones though.
I know. The problem is the one packet. So there's a set of 3, and they're monsters. They're creatures from one of the Hogwarts classrooms. and
okay.
and it's a set of 3. It's an exclusive.
Is it the book? The book monster? Oh no,
it's not the book. No, but it's $250 because there's not very many of them.
Yeah.
Because it was like a comic exclusive thing. I'm trying to think what are the other ones, but anyway. We're getting super nerdy right now.
Yeah,
I'll complete it. Yeah, I think what I want to do next is collect the wands, like all the wands.
I actually almost started doing that. Okay, like kind of a nerd moment for me is me and my friends we'd go into Noodles when they had the chopsticks.
Oh yeah.
And we would take the chopsticks and like play Harry Potter when I was like, it was so much fun though. Like I knew like all the spells and yeah, gosh.
I love that.
I loved Harry Potter. I mean, I still do, but I was crazy about it.
Have you seen any good movies lately?
I have actually. So, I just saw A Star Is Born.
Oh,
great movie. Like crazy though. I didn't expect any of it. I don't want to ruin it for anyone, but like definitely not what I was expecting. But
that was my favorite movie of the year.
I
thought it was the best movie of the year.
That is definitely like. Yeah, probably my top 3.
Dude, there are movies that like shake you to your core. And that movie really was riveting.
Yeah, and Lady Gaga, like I didn't realize she was such a good actress.
So good.
And you know she can sing. Yeah, but, like she was good.
She's a freak of nature. Super talented.
Yeah.
Also, she works really hard.
Yeah.
She's been working on her acting chops for years, years and years and years. Mm-hmm. I just watched a movie that I thought had potential to be in my top 10 favorite movies of 2018. Green Book.
Okay. Yeah, and I have not seen that one yet.
I gotta say, dude, I would definitely, if I were to remake my video, I would probably put it top 5.
Wow.
It was good. It was really good. Mm-hmm. That's another movie that just like it just like shook me.
Yeah.
You know, like emotionally on like several different levels. Mm-hmm. Man, that's one that I cannot recommend high enough for people to see.
Yeah. I would say if you haven't seen the new Spider-Man, it didn't get a lot of like, I mean, for me, I wasn't someone that wanted to like see it right away, but Brock and Griffin, a couple guys on the team, were like, "Hey, we should go see it." So we actually saw it right before we left for training trip, and it was like, incredible. It's so different, so unique with like the animation, the music, and then the plot is great too.
I loved it. Yeah, I was like you, like I didn't really have that much interest in seeing.
Yeah, not at all. Because I was like it's not gonna be like Homecoming or anything like that.
And I really like those movies. Like, man, I remember seeing Spider-Man 2 and even the first Spider-Man, the original Sam Raimi Spider-Man in theaters. I think I was, 2001? So I would have been 9 years old. I remember waiting in line back when you had to wait in line to get your movie ticket. I waited in line that was like blocks long, like all the way around the corner at the Suncoast Resort in Las Vegas, back when that place was the hot spot. And even then, like I loved it. But I wasn't the biggest Spider-Man fan. But I'll tell you what, number one, that movie was the shit. That movie was awesome.
Yeah.
Way better than I expected. Totally unique. But I've been playing the new PS4 game. My sister got me the Spider-Man PS4 game.
I've heard really good things about that game.
It is one of the best games I've ever played. Like it has made me more of a Spider-Man fan. Like way more of a Spider-Man fan. I can't believe how much I like the game.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's cool. Kind of a hidden gem.
Dude. Yeah.
That's cool.
This has been good.
This has been really good.
This has been really good.
Yeah.
We're like pretty close to an hour, so
wow.
We probably wrapped
up. Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah. If you aren't yet, go ahead and follow Gary on social media. Is it just at Gary Kostbade?
Yep.
Yeah. Go ahead and follow me on social media at Swim Miller on Twitter, at Cody Miller on Instagram. Vlogs every Wednesdays. I'm trying to do more podcasts. Maybe I'll bring Gary back. You know, it'd be really good to get like a podcast of you and Blake together. Like if we three-wayed it, that'd be fun. Other people I need to get on the I gotta get Lily on the podcast eventually. Yeah. Everyone wants to see Lily. I gotta get Margot on just because she's the crowd favorite.
Yeah, she is.
Gotta get her on. So this has been good. Thank you, Gary. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This has been really fun.
The amount of love from the kids that watch the vlog for Gary has been pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's surprising, but I love it. I mean, hey,
it's your smile, man.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Anytime. We'll do this again.
Yeah, for sure. We'll have to do it again.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Once again, vlogs every Wednesdays. Go ahead, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and thank you very much. Bye-bye.